This is Morning Express, and it is on the 21st day of September 2016. Time for us to look at your health. Today, we're looking at lifestyle basically and lifestyle diseases, but more towards exercise and losing weight. And this morning, we have Dr. Dindi, who's going to be running us through that. And I guess what I would say is unique about Dr. Dindi is the fact that, first of all, she's a medical doctor, but also a fitness instructor. Mostly you have a fitness instructor who, well, does not have the medicine background. You may also have a doctor who does not keep fit per se, but she does both, so that she's a package, as it were. She's also the founder of Dr. Fitness. So I'm going to be engaging her in this conversation. Remember, you're welcome to participate. You're welcome to call in. Maybe you've been trying to lose weight and for one reason or the other, it just doesn't seem to work. And you're wondering, what is it that you're doing wrong? We'll give you the opportunity to have that conversation. But we'll be focusing on pregnant women and some of the exercise that they can do. So before we have this conversation, let's first of all look at a story that was done by our in-house doctor, Dr. Korir. And basically this was focusing on pregnant women and some of the exercise that they can engage in. We apologize that we seem to be having a challenge with the sound on that particular story. But yeah, you've seen some of the exercise that pregnant women can engage in. So welcome, Dr. Dindi, and good to have you this morning. First of all, just to understand, you are a medical doctor and a fitness instructor at the same time.
Yes. I'm actually a consultant physician.
Okay.
Yes, MBCHB, M.Med Internal Medicine, and a certified fitness trainer. So I'm actually focusing on matters fitness consultancy. So really my passion is to influence people into healthy lives by diet and exercise. I'm moving away from what we keep doing as doctors, telling people to exercise more and eat healthy. I decided to go further and now break it down and be able to show people I'm walking the talk. So that's the kind of stuff that Dr. Fitness is all about.
And that is quite unique. You are the founder of Dr. Fitness. What does Dr. Fitness concentrate on? It's literally walking the talk, like you've said.
Oh, yes. And actually, I focus a lot. There's the weight loss component, yes, because many people are struggling with extremes of weight and even childhood obesity and all that. But I focus on making people realize it's about gaining health more than just losing weight. I think it's a very nice concept psychologically to realize that there's something positive you're gaining into your life instead of looking at something you're losing. So instead of focusing on how many pounds you've lost, it's about what have I gained. My lipid profile or the cholesterols have become better and I have more energy. I can play with my kids more. My blood pressure is better controlled. My sugars are now in check. Such things are the ones I like focusing on.
All right. Now, I know one of the biggest problems that we have worldwide, not just in Kenya, is obesity. And the pressure is so high for people to lose weight, mainly because of the kind of environment we live in, the culture that we have right now. If you look at any magazine, most of the models that are shown are certain, physique and a certain size. What is the secret to having that figure?
The secret is, I think I am living that life. Not bragging, but I am a mother of 3 children, and I've been able to get back in shape even after my children. And I actually want to show people that it's very possible. And instead of looking at the people out there that we are seeing that are in the shape or in the size that we want to be, I am local. I'm not the only one. There are many others in the country, yes, I admit. But I'm trying to show people it's a lifestyle. This is not a show. It's not a sprint. It's not 100 meters. It's a marathon. So it's actually a lifestyle. It's something you do day by day.
And I think that's a key difference, the fact that many of us try to lose weight for a period as opposed to trying to stay healthy for a lifetime.
Oh, yes. It's not a destination. It's the process. It's not somewhere you get and this is it. Even at where I am, I have to maintain. So it's good to realize it's something you do every day. It's your healthy choices in terms of your physical activity, your exercise, and what you're eating. Everything you do actually does contribute to that kind of lifestyle. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So You still not told me what is the secret.
The secret. It's the secret is that there's no secret. That's an interesting bit in that really it's about if focusing on weight loss, really, the calorie math does count. It's the issue of what you put into your body, whether it's solid food, whether it's drinks, the juices, the sodas, the milk, whatever you put into your mouth, unless it's just water, most of them, even the so-called zeros, they actually have a bit of calories versus what you put out. What you put out is like something we call the basal metabolic rate, that even when you're at rest, you have nothing in your stomach, this energy that is required to sustain you. Actually, it takes about 70% of your calorie intake to actually sustain life, to keep your heart pumping. Oh, yes.
That's pretty
That is
high.
just basal metabolic rate. Before we even talk about anything else, like just moving and non-exercise kind of physical activity. So, and now when we come to the physical activity per se and exercise, those are now the forms of energy expenditure. So if the math is such that whatever you're putting in is much more than what you're putting out, you're going to gain weight. So for you to be able to lose weight, the math should be that whatever you're putting out is greater than what you're putting in. And that's where exercise comes in, because that's the greatest modifiable factor in terms of how you can control weight.
Now, there is no one-size-fits-all method. But how do I, first of all, identify or find this is what I am happy with? Because some of us want to be thinner than our body structure would allow. Others would probably want to put on a little bit weight, yet maybe our genetic makeup does not allow for us to, you know, have areas that are well endowed, if I to put it lightly. How do I find, first of all, what my body structure is so that I'm comfortable with that, number one, and then I maintain that?
Okay, I think that brings in the concept of the body mass index, and that is the weight distribution over your height. What is someone who has a body mass index of below 18.5 is said to be underweight. 18.5 to 24.9 kilograms per meter square, that is normal. Now, when we go above that, you're talking about overweight and then obese and all that. But then I know there's all these things that people are becoming more aware of, the somatotypes. Are you an ectomorph? People tend to be skinny, whatever they do. The endomorphs, those ones who say smelling food just makes them grow fat. And of course, the mesomorphs who can build muscles very easily. There's all that, and I think it makes it a bit complex, and now you might actually need a consultant to help you now like identify where you are and how to tweak some things. But really, it's not meant to be that complex. Still, the simple things tend to work in the long run. So focusing on if you want to gain weight, of course, you have to increase your caloric intake, your carbohydrate as well as protein, but I encourage people to actually now do weightlifting, strength training, to be able to gain more of muscle than actually fat. Yeah.
Okay, so once you found that body mass index and you found this is maybe the weight or a structure that I'm supposed to have, what would you say is the rule of thumb for all of us to be, what would I call it, healthy? Given that, I'm sure when God created us and you know, put us on this earth, there are certain things that work, there are others that don't.
Okay.
Regardless of who you are.
Yes, yes, that's for sure. Okay, now if you identify that your weight, and I think here we are talking more about the excess, now you're like overweight or obese, then there are a number of things that one has to work at. And this is actually to adjust the math, carbohydrates are a problem. That's the truth. Because as you balance out things, protein is very important, because you need protein for your muscle, for your survival. You know, our tissues are made of actually protein. And there's also the essential fatty acids that, you know, our cell membranes and so many other things actually need. And the cholesterol is actually required even for the structure of the cells. But carbohydrate has been like the evil one, you know, and especially when you start going for simple carbohydrate, like the sugar drinks, the sport drinks and all that spike up our insulin and then cause fat gain. So really, those are things, simple ways of cutting back is actually by eliminating those drinks as much as possible and just getting disciplined, like I encourage, keep moving. You know, we were never meant to just sit there. And you realize our old folks, our grandparents, they did have cars. They more or less walked everywhere they went. And everything was done, you know, physically. They had to go to the shamba. Now we have tractors. We have so many gadgets in the house that have replaced our physical activity. So we have to create that physical activity. The gadgets are working for us, yes, but then we have to exercise a little bit more, walk more, you know, play with the kids, go to the parks, eat less of the carbs and simple sugars and all that to be able to balance out things.
All right, because we had mentioned we'll talk about pregnancy and those who possibly are carrying babies. That becomes another area that needs to be demystified. Reason being, like you've said, you're a mother of 3 children and you're looking great, I must say.
Thank
you're looking fabulous. So you're walking the talk. But one of the excuses you'll hear from many mothers is after they've given birth that, hey, you don't expect me to stay prim and proper. And I guess it's acceptable to some degree, but again, there's the health aspect of it. When you become obese, then really you're putting your life at risk. Is pregnancy an excuse for somebody to add weight?
Well, it is.
Let me not say an excuse, a reason. Let me use reason.
Oh yes, it's actually, like you say, it's a reason. Naturally, it's a reason to gain weight, because during pregnancy that baby is growing, and that weight is many things. Because even in the first trimester, the first 3 months, before you even gain like fat, you actually gain blood volume. So you see there are many things. Then there are amniotic fluid. There are many things that coming in to surround the baby, and then the baby is in there and then starts growing, especially towards the third trimester. So regardless even of your body mass index, pregnancy time is not the time to lose weight. It's just that if you're within normal weight, you're allowed to gain a little bit more than someone who was obese. The other thing is that during pregnancy now there's the concept of eating for two, which is really not right. So I think, or even now going for cravings, like going for excuse of cravings and just going all and eating all sorts of things.
That is and sometimes those cravings can be for very unhealthy. There are those who crave for chips, others for chocolate.
Others for, like if you're craving for ice cream and soil, then you need to get your HB checked, the hemoglobin, because you could be suffering from iron deficiency. So it's good to have your doctor check you out if you're craving for unusual things. But if you're craving for junk, really, I think it calls for restraint. It's very important, and support within the family and those significant to you that can help you. Like, I mean, if your wife is craving for chips, don't go bring her that. See what alternatives you can.
No, but you know, when you don't bring those chips, you might be in trouble, because there are other pregnancies that you hear ball haipendi mtu fulani. So anyway, those are others. But let's talk about the exercise. And you can see some of the exercise that is being done there. What are some of the exercises that pregnant women can engage in that are healthy without putting the baby at risk?
Okay, it really matters whether this mother was exercising before pregnancy or not. But actually in the first trimester, there's hardly any form of exercise that one cannot engage in, including even weightlifting, but only if you were doing it before. And because the belly hasn't changed much, there's no much change in the center of gravity, then you can jog, you can cycle, you can swim. Actually, swimming is one of the safest exercises throughout pregnancy, so long as you're a good swimmer. Yes, it's safe, it's good for the joints and all that. But as we move more towards the second and the third trimester, then we start having what we call the modifications. Like you're not allowed to exercise lying on your back most of the time, because we don't want to impair the blood supply to the placenta and the baby. The other thing is that you can now be lying on your belly, really, even feasibility starts, so there are those precautions that we start incorporating. The other thing is that you should never have your feet off the ground at the same time, so no jumps during pregnancy. It's just safe.
And then from the second trimester going up.
Yeah, and even the first throughout, it's just safe. I think now we take caution for two. Thinking of the safety of the mother and safety of the baby. So really, and listening to your body. The other thing is that there are actually some absolute contraindications to exercise during pregnancy, and this is like if someone has had a threatened abortion. And abortion, I do not mean that someone trying to get rid. It's not intentional.
It could just be a miscarriage.
Yes. If someone has a low-lying placenta, what we call placenta previa, if someone has had cervical incompetence, or the most important thing is actually to be able to discuss with your obstetrician or gynecologist to know whether it is safe for you to exercise or not. More or less, if you have an uncomplicated pregnancy, and complication does not include nausea and those simple things that are symptoms that are symptoms of pregnancy. So if it's non-complicated, then you're good to go. If you have any cause for alarm, it's always good to discuss with your doctor.
Always good to consult with the doctor. Now, does exercise help the health of the baby?
Oh, yes.
Because we concentrate so much on the mother and forget that there is a baby who's to be born. Does that help the baby?
Oh, yes, it does. The other important thing, okay, there's something I didn't mention as a contraindication. If the baby has been noted not to be gaining weight adequately, or the mother is extremely underweight, by the way, it's a contraindication to exercise in such cases, or someone is severely anemic.
Contraindication here means that
you're not allowed. Yeah, I think it's good to clarify that you're not allowed to engage in exercise. So, so if the baby is gaining weight, okay, the mother is okay, then you're good to go. It is actually good. It promotes just the adequate blood supply to the baby, that energy for the mother. And a mother who is into exercise is more conscious about healthy eating. If you're eating healthy, actually it's good for the baby. In fact, during pregnancy is one time to imagine if you're eating garbage, the baby is getting garbage. So it's actually the one time that
you're
actually
setting them up for a very difficult lifetime. Now, yes. What about the other side of the coin? Because one of the things that pregnancy comes with, from what I've had, evidently not what I've gone through, is the fact that, first of all, mothers get very tired. I don't want to use the word lazy. Let's call it lethargic. They're a bit lethargic because of metabolism. Basically, your body is changing. There's a lot happening. You've gained that weight. So is there a negative when now you do not do exercise at all?
Okay, having been there, I think I understand what you're talking about. There are times you just feel awful, you know, you look, no clothes don't fit the way they used to, you know. Yeah, and really it can slow you down. It's probably just a physiological way of ensuring that you have enough energy, you're conserving enough for the baby and all that. But for actually people who exercise, they tend to have a little bit more energy. Personally, what I would do, even the times I just don't feel like exercising, I just walk. I walk, sometimes take a stroll with my hubby or walk with the other kids, you know, now that I have 3 of them. So when I was pregnant with the last one, I would walk with the other kids, just play around. Anything you can do and just keep your muscles, your body moving is actually beneficial. But the truth of the matter is that you don't always feel energetic. That's true. You can feel awful at times.
And there's also the other myth. I'm not sure if it's a myth or a fact. You'll find ladies who do not want to breastfeed for long periods, mainly because, well, gravity might take its toll on their breasts. Is that something that, is it a concern? Should one do longer periods of breastfeeding affect your look later? Okay.
The truth of the matter is the breast will sag whether you breastfeed or not. It comes with age. That's a fact.
Gravity has to take it.
Yeah. But also, actually, breastfeeding is one of the ways of losing weight post-pregnancy. And actually, now that you brought this issue up, post-pregnancy weight retention is a problem, and it's actually a recipe for weight gain in obesity in the long term. Because actually, most of the people say, oh, nikiwa msichana, nilikuwa mdogo, but venye nilipata watoto. What happens if you never lose that weight after the baby? Then you're likely to retain it for the rest of your life. So you have to do it in the short term. One of the ways is actually by breastfeeding. Why? Breast milk has a lot of fat. It goes with the fat. So part of the fat that you're storing during pregnancy, it was God's way of preparing you for the milk production for the baby. And that also excuses you from not eating excessively because you already have enough to create that milk production. And actually still, the World Health Organization, WHO, recommends exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. I have done it. My first set of kids are twins, and I did it for 6 months. Oh, yes. And they were big, they were held exclusive. No water, no... the only extra thing they got was the vaccine, you know, oral polio and that kind of thing. Not giving them anything else additive. Not even none, you know, these formulas.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was tough. As in, it was not easy, especially...
Sometimes, but I guess it also depends. You need to get advice from a doctor because it depends on how, what shall I call it, how much appetite the children have. Because you'll find there are some who... The mothers may not produce enough milk to feed them, and you'll find they end up now crying and becoming very cranky because they're not full.
Okay, yeah, that's very important to discuss with your pediatrician, that is the baby's doctor. But one key marker whether you're having enough milk is whether the babies are gaining weight. Okay, my twins were 3 kgs each, they were big. I was huge at birth, yeah. Wow, and their weight gain was actually better than for singletons, as in the ones born, you know, moja. Yeah, and their weight gain was fantastic. So I did they were above average. So, but if the weight gain is not adequate, then something else might have to be introduced. So the good thing is important to discuss with the baby's doctor. And the other thing is, sometimes people introduce other elements like formula and all that before they've discussed with their doctor. And what this does is that it cuts on the supply of milk, because the breast milk is a demand versus supply kind of, So the more you supply to the baby, the more you produce more, because it's actually the brain, the prolactin and all that. You know, you have to keep feeding the baby for the body to read that you need to produce more. Yeah, so the moment you introduce other things, then that gets mixed up.
What is a reasonable time for a new, a mother who's just given birth, for them to go back to their normal BMI?
Okay, that is tough, and it can't be cast on stone, because it also depends on where one was. For instance, if someone got pregnant and they're already obese, their starting point is way,
where they should be.
So it depends on where one was. But a reasonable thing would first to start by saying immediately after delivery, walk. My deliveries have been through cesarean section, the 2 times, but day 1 post-op, that is the day after you were operated, the first day walk. I started walking. Of course, you'll be like crawling slowly. And then, so even when you get home, whether it was the natural delivery or it was surgical, keep walking. After 6 weeks, then you're free now to engage in other exercises, so long as there are no medical or surgical complications. And surgical complications, like you have a
it might be important to note that you should clarify with your gynecologist, and whichever other doctor that is seeing you, in case you have back problems or anything like that.
Yes. Okay. That is very important.
So you begin walking as soon as you can.
Oh yes.
Then possibly graduate to heavier exercise.
Exactly, intense. And when you begin out, I know for most mothers, having, part of the team, is that you want to bounce back and get that belly, flat. It doesn't work that easily. The thing is, one, the belly will be distended, the muscles are lax, and, if you had you have a surgical scar, then there might be a bit of discomfort and all that. So actually, it's good to stay away from the sit-ups, the crunches, and that kind of thing. And just start easy. Start with cardio and working on the rest of the core, the back, and the sides of the, the tummy muscles are many. We focus on the six-pack, the middle ones, but they are the ones on the side. Start by tightening from deep within, and then now you can graduate to sit-ups maybe after several months when things are now easier. Yeah, so graduate slowly.
All right, time is not on our side, and I can see we've not covered a lot, but I know a key question that many would probably want to know: is there a formula or a secret to losing the belly? And this is generally not just for those who've recently given birth, but you'll find that's normally a very difficult part of the body to bring to shape.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to work on the belly is first to take steps back and see we were not born with pot bellies. That's the truth. So they started from somewhere. And for instance, there are people, when they were tamarking, looking for jobs, their bellies were scooped out, or not just flat. They were oh yes, they did. But what happened? The moment they get a job, what happens? Something changed. Within a short time, they got a car, so they were not walking. And they had better resources, and they were eating a lot of, ordering from wherever instead of having cooked food. So actually, it's the things we start doing that bring us problems. So we have to walk back and start. You won't get rid of the car, but now you might have to join a gym or join Dr. Fitness, but there my DVDs are out, you can work out with me from the comfort of your home. Anyway, that notwithstanding, join a gym or work out or start jogging. You have to now look for a way of replacing that physical activity you did when tamarking and all that. And then look at your diet. These are the problems.
In a nutshell, lifestyle.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dindi. It's been a pleasure hosting you right here, and some great info there. We'll have to wind it up right there because of